Hi, in this video, I want to give you an introduction to the M0 platform, and I'll talk about the monetization capabilities. Really, from a developer point of view, this video will be more geared towards developers, and in future videos, I'll talk a lot more about the user experience that we developed on Slack. You'll see some of that because you use Slack to drive a lot of your developer testing and things like that. But I want to just talk more about um, the monetization capabilities that we built into the platform and how, if you're a developer and you write code for the platform, that you can earn significant money from your code. Anytime somebody uses your code, you'll get a fee. So, um, on Slack, I have two windows open here. There's Slack on the left, and then M0 code is on the right. And the first thing that you'll do when you go into set up M0 is you attach a ledger or an account to Slack. So I have I'll show you how to do that in another video, but I have one account here, one ledger here, and I've already attached it to Slack, and I've done a few things here. So in my account or ledger on the left, you'll see two totals. One is my account balance, and the other is um, the part of the account balance that I've denoted to make gas payments. Um, Everything is denoted in M0 token. You can think of it as a credit or something like that if you want. But the M0 token is used as the accounting unit on the M0 platform. All activity in M0 is subject to gas charges, which are usage based and charged as the gas is consumed. And the unit of gas is in M0 token, as is everything. So we split out the gas into a separate account so that you can limit how much gas you may want to use, or if you're setting up someone else's account, you may want to limit how much gas they have or how much gas they can use. So there's a lot of good reasons for doing that. So as a developer, there's two ways to make money off your code. One is to write templates here in M0 code, and the other way is through endpoints, which allow you to use your own external services and collect gas fees, or collect fees that way, gas fees or otherwise. I'll go into more detail about endpoints. That's an extremely powerful feature of how you can extend the platform. Um, for now, I'll just show you how you can collect gas by writing libraries or code or other things inside M0 code. So on the M0 platform, everything is the container that holds the code is called a template, and it's similar to a class. In many programming languages have the concept of a class, and it's similar to what a template is. So I have this top drop down shows the templates that I have that I'm working on here, and here are the methods inside this template. And you'll see on the left that this is my ledger address, and we just show it there so that you know which ledger you're working in. And actually, you can switch ledgers using this drop down. But you can see that this ledger is the same one that's here on the left inside Slack. So when I save a template, it's attached to this ledger. So when someone executes code in a template, it knows where, and the M0 platform knows who owns the code, and so whoever owns that code gets part of the gas fees that we calculate for that, that code execution. So that's what I'll show you here. So in this case, when I execute this method, you'll see my gas will get deducted for a cost, and then I'll also collect fees in my account for the execution of this method, whatever the gas fee for that was. And in this case, I'm running on a test system, and I'm actually the only account. So this account happens to be the one that is collecting the gas fees for the platform. So these numbers will move in tandem in this case, just because all the fees are going to come out of this account, because that's the one I'm using, and they're also going to go right back into it. But normally you would see just a fraction of the gas fee coming back in whoever owned the method account. But I just mentioned that in case you notice that these are both moving in tandem. So now I want to execute this method. There's a lot of ways to drive the method. So we give you inside Slack. One of the ways that you can start a method is through commands. We have a lot of commands on them that you can use to do various things in the platform, and one of them is to execute a method or debug a method. There's a lot of other ways to trigger methods as well, by attaching them to buttons and things like that, and I'll actually show you that a little bit later in this video. But for now, I'll just use a command to start this method. This is also going to show you what we think is one of the really powerful features of the M0 platform, and that's the debugging capabilities. You can see that I can put in breakpoints inside my method here, and these will get hit when this code gets executed. And on the right, it will show me the current state, and so I can really do all my debugging live, really, as it's executing inside Slack. So if I go to the messages tab, I can issue some commands here. One thing that I'll mention that you see here is something called shortcuts. The debug command it's not too much typing. This is the debug command that you would issue for this one. But it's kind of an error-prone string, so we have a feature called shortcuts, and it's very sophisticated feature, and it has things like macros and parameter substitution. So you can make a lot of shortcuts for different things. To make one is to shorten the amount of typing, but the other is you can make things very natural sounding, or conversational sounding commands and things like that. In this case, I have one shortcut. I just call it test, and when I use that shortcut, it will issue this command, which is the debug command. It's just starting this interact method. So I'll start that now and show you what happens. So it's M0, and the ampersand is the shortcut key, which tells M0 that what follows is a shortcut. So I just type in test, and you can see that it's showing the modal that's getting constructed here. So it just has two fields. So this is the first field you see here, which is the contract, and this is the second field, and the code is now sitting right here on reply modal. This displayed the view that I constructed, and this is where it's sitting right now inside the code. So if I submit it, it will hit this breakpoint, and if I cancel it, it will hit this breakpoint. So I'll cancel it for now. So, and you can see that, yeah, this is the correct breakpoint that it hit. And on the right, it populated this with the state that it's currently in, and you can see all the variables and things like that. It's and everything you would need to debug this method. So if I'll just continue this, and then it ends, and it just shows the final state, which I'm returning is just the state that got passed in. So now if I go back to my ledger, oh, you can see it just updated. So I think it updates every minute. It will update the gas internally as it's consumed. You know, your account will get updated, but I think it will do the actual save each minute. So you might see a short delay. But anyway, yeah, that's what happened. You just saw that I got charged the gas, and then I got debited the gas here, and then I got credited in my account. Let me show you one more thing here in the code execution. I'll show you how to attach a method to a button. So you actually need, since modals are synchronous from a user point of view, we can make the code look synchronous from the developer's point of view. Just because they're forced to, the user is forced to interact with the modal. They have to either cancel it or submit it. But for other interactions on Slack, like buttons, drop downs, and things like that, you don't know when someone's going to interact with it. And actually on Slack, someone can interact with it, you know, days later. They can click a button that you may have shown in a message, you know, some time ago. So the way that we do it for Slack interactions is there's something called an interaction handler that you create in your code, and it contains the template and the method that you want to execute when that interaction occurs. So in this case, we have you can see I'm creating an interaction handler here, and then I'm passing it in on a button that I'm going to put inside a message that will get displayed. And then when the user clicks that button, it will execute the handler that I gave it. So in this case, for this one, it's the same template. There's a shortcut function that we have to get the template that you're currently executing, and then I'm passing it to the method named button handler, which is here. So, and I have a breakpoint in there. It's not doing anything right now. It's just to show you that how it gets driven when the button gets clicked. You'll see this breakpoint will get hit. So I want to, first I need to execute this method. So I'll do that here. And let's see, I'll create a shortcut just to give you an idea of how that works. So create shortcut, and I'll call it test B for test button. And this is the syntax. It's between the two ampersands is the shortcut, and inside there you can put other things, parameters and macros and things, but I won't go into that now. So it's going to be debug interact button. From M0 starter 0.0.1. So I think that looks right. Yeah, it looks good. So now I have a shortcut called testb. I'll execute that. So there it goes. It started. So there's a breakpoint in there after the reply is a function that will send a message back to the user who issued the command. So the breakpoint sitting here, and you can see this is the message that I sent. This shows how to set a button handler. Press me. This is the button. This is what I'm creating in this part right here. So if I just finish this method, now when I click this, it'll drive my button handler, and it will stop at the breakpoint inside there. So there it is. So this is button handler, which was attached to that button, and you can see the breakpoint. And if you look on the right, you can see the variables. Some var is what I set here, so you can see that you can see the variables when you're doing your debugging. But I'll just finish this. So yeah, so that's it, and you could see that it deducted the gas, and I got credited as well. But yeah, those are just a couple of the things that Slack-oriented interaction things to show you how powerful the debugger is and how easy it is to do very significant things inside Slack. So I want to stress that to our knowledge, there's never been a system like this that rewards developers directly for the code they write. If you write code that somebody else uses and it gets executed, you get rewarded. And I don't think there's ever been anything quite like it. So, and as any new venture works, the early adopters are always the ones that benefit the most. So if you write a lot of useful code for the M0 platform, you're likely to do really well, in the short term and in the long term. So I would encourage you to take advantage of that.